Early Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I love you all, and I figured since it's pretty near Shabbat, I would start with, for our next series, The Return of Yahusha, The Beginning is Near. I usually ask you guys what one you guys want me to start with, but I have a bunch of them that there's so many to choose from, so I just thought it would be nice to start with The Return of Yahusha. And the book's my favorite color. Love is the goal. Torah is the path to it. Warriors of Yahuwah and the truth. Accoutrements and rituals are signs along the path, and men are constantly meddling with them. Lou White. Available at CreateSpace, Amazon.com, FossilizedCustoms.com, TorahZone.net, Torah Institute, and it has the P.O. Box, Louisville, Kentucky, and their phone number. I'm going to start here on page 1. You, Yehuda, your brothers praise you. Your hand is on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children bow down before you. Yehuda is a lion's cub. From the prey you have gone up, my son. He bowed down, he crouched like a lion, and like a lion, who does rouse him? The scepter shall not turn aside from Yahuwah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him is the obedience of the peoples. Binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Genesis, Bereshit, 49, 9-12. The messenger who has redeemed me from all evil. Bless the youths, and let my name be called upon them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Yitzchak. And let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth, or the Eretz. Sorry. And when Yusuf saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes, and he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Manasseh. And Yusuf said to his father, Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also becomes a people, and he also is great. And yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. Genesis, or Bereshit, 48:16-19. Alternate, and his descendants will become a group of nations, or Goyim. Nations is Goyim, or Goyim, and Ephraim is a great multitude today across the whole earth, sown intentionally, to come forth in the end of days. Yehuda and Yasharal will become one stick. Ezekiel 36-37. If we hear Yahusha's voice, we must obey him. Ephraim is now returning to Torah after 2,730 years of captivity. The prodigal son is returning to Yahuwah's household. What is this book about? This book is an investigation into an enigma that has haunted the minds of intelligent men and women since the concept was first proposed, the end of days, and the return of Yahusha. This book concerns itself with the culmination of all history, and the appearing of the Master Yahusha, who created all things seen and unseen. The whole universe groans as if in birth pangs for the revealing of the children of ALAHIM. Romans 8:22-23. Sorry. For we know that all the creation groans together and suffers the pains of childbirth together until now. And not only so, but even we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit, we ourselves also groan within ourselves, eagerly waiting for the adoption of redemption of our body. The shadows of our redemption plan are represented by these 7 festivals. Love Yahuwah, observances of Yahuwah. And on the menorah are the 7 observances of Yahuwah. 1 is Pesach, 2 Matzah, 3 Bikurim, 4 Shavuot, 5 Teruah, Yom Teruah, 6 Yom Kafar, 7 is Sukkot. I love Sukkot. We get to go camping together. Yahusha's redemption plan, shadow outline. Leviticus 23, Deuteronomy 16. Of the things to come, Torah Institute, TorahZone.net. Love one another. How these festivals model Yahusha's plan for our redemption is absolutely amazing. It will tingle the ears of all who hear it. Have you prayed for the truth? Someone heard your prayer. Written from a Natsarim perspective. But you, Daniel. Wow.
Yeah, he's done it twice today.
Our big dog burped, Roscoe.
Because he rolls, he keeps choking himself. Even though it's a harness, he's still choking his ribs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Lay down.
Bella fell asleep.
I'm keeping mine awake.
Okay.
I'm home.
Thanks. But you, Daniel, hide the words and seal the scroll until the time of the end. Many shall diligently search, and knowledge shall increase. Then I, Daniel, looked and saw 2 others, standing, one on this bank of the river and one on the other bank. And one said to the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, how long until the end of these wonders? And I heard the man dressed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, and he held up his right hand and his left hand to the heavens, and swore by him who lives forever, and it would be for a time, times, and half a time. And when they have ended scattering the power of the set-apart people, then all these shall be completed. And I heard, but I did not understand. So I said, my master, what is the latter end of these matters? And he said, go, Daniel, for the words are hidden and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be cleansed and made white and refined, but the wrong shall do wrong, and none of the wrong shall understand, but those who have insight shall understand. And from the time that which is continual is taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is set up, is 1290 days. Blessed is he who is waiting earnestly, and comes to the 1335 days. But you go your way till the end, and rest and arise to your lot at the end of days. Daniel 12, 7 through 13. What to expect prior to the return of Yahusha. Matthew 13, 49 and 50. Thus shall it be at the end of the age. The messengers shall come forth, and separate the wicked out of the midst of the righteous, and shall throw them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Okay, thanks. The messengers. Yeah. I know. Are the heavenly Malachim, also called reapers, who harvest the earth at the end of days. The false idea that the righteous will be taken first and not see the judgments and wrath upon the disobedient goes along with many other false teachings, making Yahusha's workers less effective. This book will help correct such expectations. We have a mark of protection upon us, so the reapers will pass over us, and no plague will touch us because we know his name. How will the world resist the coming reign of Yahusha? Secular humanism, the religion of utopia. Men dream that the perfect world is where people rule themselves. Humanism, definition. A philosophy or attitude that addresses itself exclusively to human as opposed to divine or supernatural concerns, often coupled with the belief that man is capable of reaching self-fulfillment without divine aid. A cultural and intellectual movement of a secular character that occurred during the Renaissance, following the rediscovery of the literature, art, and civilization of ancient Greece and Rome. From the American Heritage Illustrated Encyclopedia Dictionary, 1987. Encyclopedic, sorry. Secular humanism and why your family thinks you're nuts. We often see differences in one another's reaction to the truth. The closer to the truth one gets, the more resistance they encounter. People argue over it, declaring that truth is relative, or there is no universal truth. The problem exists because people want to see things from their perspective and shun the consideration that there is any higher authority to consider. The problem with truth is especially noticeable in family situations where one member begins to study and learns more truths. The ones who have not been interested enough to study on their own feel that their relative has gone over the deep end when they see the excitement and zeal in them. The new knowledge is shared, but falls on ears which are unprepared to listen. They will debate specific things, but arrive at completely different conclusions. The one who studies changes their behavior, but those who don't study do not see any reason to change. Through personal study, it becomes evident that human traditions replace scriptural teachings, and over a long period of time, many things were altered, all with good-sounding human reasoning to back them up. At the core of this is one thing: secular humanism. The sovereignty of human reasoning produces plenty of common sense excuses for most people to keep thinking and doing as they feel. Their attitudes are formed and hardened into place, and when challenged with truth, they rattle off a long chain of excuses. A few of the excuses based on humanistic reasoning might be, if it's Arizona, I need it, but oh, it's another tax thing, and I can't do taxes. Go. A few of the excuses based on humanistic reasoning might be, it doesn't mean that that to me.
Sorry, everyone.
It's okay.
No, it's not getting me.
It doesn't mean that anymore. How can something change when he said not no jot or tittle is going to change from my word till the time of the end? He knows my heart. We hear that a lot with Christians. Well, that was a long time ago. The world is different now. That's not what's in my mind when I think about it. It matters what Yahuwah put here for us, not what we think for ourselves. The Ruach leads us. I'm not a pagan and I don't worship the sun is another excuse. We're covered under the new covenant. ALAHIM, Yahuwah ALAHIM declares, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. Isaiah 55. The one whom you obey is the one whose servant you are. See Romans 6:16. Truth is not whimsical, and our majority vote doesn't change it. What is humanism? Once again, humanism, a philosophy or attitude that addresses itself exclusively to human as opposed to divine or supernatural concerns, often coupled with the belief that man is capable of reaching self-fulfillment without divine aid. A cultural and intellectual movement of a secular character that occurred during the Renaissance following the rediscovery of the literature, art, and civilization of ancient Greece and Rome. The democratic form of government was implemented by the Greeks, using ballots to vote for leaders. I see why I'm a Republican now. The cyclic nature of democracies, written about 1770 by Alexander Tyler. The Athenian Republic describes the cycle of human governments called democracies. A democracy cannot exist as a permanent form of government. It can only exist until the voters discover they can vote themselves largesse from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always votes for the candidates promising them the most benefits from the public treasury. with the result that a democracy always collapses over loose fiscal policy, always followed by a dictatorship. The average age of the world's greatest civilizations have been 200 years. These nations have progressed through this sequence. From bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from courage to liberty, from liberty, to abundance, from abundance to selfishness, from selfishness to apathy, from apathy to dependence, from dependency back again into bondage, in that cycle, in that order. Refusing to receive a love of truth, why we are sent spirit of error. To some extent, humanism impacts or even dominates most everyone's opinions. Humanism takes the position that human beings can decide for themselves what is acceptable and what is not. We turn evil into good in our minds. Human perspective. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Yashayahu or Isaiah 5:20. Claiming to be wise, they became fools, who changed the truth, Torah or word, of ALAHIM into falsehood, and worshipped and served what was created rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. So people tend to worship the stuff that was created by Yahuwah, this more materialistic worship, instead of worshiping the true Most High. And that is the only one to be worshipped. Read context of Romans 1:22 through 25. This reasoning explains why Catholicism adopted the pagan customs of many heathen peoples, assuming they had the authority to do so. So, coupled with the idea that the end result would produce good, so it is justified, and the once pagan behavior is now sanctified. See Machiavellianism, how expediency overrules moral considerations. You're going to knock the flag over. Go. Go. This is why Dad should have left it where it was. I can't really move it by myself. Oh, it's hard. And I like it back more, so Yahuwah shows. Go, Roscoe, go. Now you're not going to be able to get in, so stop. Oh, that's better. Okay, sorry guys. Interlude. Okay. This reasoning explains why Catholicism adopted the pagan customs of many heathen peoples. Roscoe, stop. Assuming they had the authority to do so. Roscoe! Coupled with the idea that the end result would produce good, so it is justified, and the once pagan behavior is now sanctified. See Machiavellianism, how expediency overrules moral considerations. Thanks, Roscoe. I read that already. Creeping Greco-Romanism, which we call humanism, soaks into the minds of everyone through education and the media. Compromising with the world, or humanism. Go! Stop! Is a fatal error to make. Stop! Tricks are perpetuated on us. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Tricks are Creeping Greco-Romanism, which we call humanism, soaks into the minds of everyone through education and the media. I read that, sorry. Compromising with the world, or humanism, is a fatal error to make. Tricks are perpetuated on us all the time in order to get us to think in the wrong way. That is the ultimate objective of brainwashing. Take, for example, the popular slogan we often see on license plates or bumper stickers. God is my co-pilot. This sounds great on the surface, but the core reasoning is flawed with humanistic concerns. Yahuwah must be enthroned as the pilot, not the co-pilot of our lives. This underscores my point. People feel they are the one pulling the strings, and our Creator is a friend, serving their needs when they demand help. Kind of like a genie. Actually, we were not created to be served, but to serve the Most High. You will hear some humanistic excuses and reasoning, even from Christian pastors and radio evangelists. But neither they nor their listeners notice it is happening, or notice it happening. Identifying the core reasoning for why we permit ourselves to believe certain things will expose the error of our thinking, and lead to more correct behavior. Over decades, centuries, even millennia, human ideas that were once considered abominable have come to be accepted by most everyone alive. When a lie is told often enough, it will eventually be held to be the truth. And those who tell the truth will sound like raving lunatics. In some areas of so-called knowledge and social behavior, peculiar worldviews have become almost universally accepted. These are sometimes referred to in debates as common ground, which grows larger through what is called compromise, like what the Christians did with the pagans. There will come a day of reckoning, which will arrive like a trap springing shut, or a thief coming in stealthily by night. There will be no escape from it. See book Reapers. I read this on my channel a while back. You can find the videos. Whether we want to admit or not, there are many things that are unknowable at this time. Humanistic worldviews seem to paint the picture that humankind is in control of the world, but this is far from reality. Weathermen are observers, and they are often seeing their expectations dashed. The expectation called the rapture can be proven to be truth in a person's mind who only dabbles in a few verses of scripture on the subject. And it is easy to form the opinion that believers or Christians will be whooshed away between heartbeats or in the wink of an eyelash, leaving only their clothing behind them. Expectations may not save or damn us, but they have an impact on us as we see events unfolding that we were not prepared to accept. Preparing ourselves for what is unexpected is also a thing to consider, and I'd like the reader to have some fun looking at an alternative viewpoint of who will be vanishing and who will be left behind. As a prelude to everything that follows, please understand that while most of it is not critical to one's salvation, any criticism of the popular understanding of the rapture I may present are not judgments against those who accept other viewpoints. Probably when the events unfold before the eyes of those who are alive, everyone involved will have some degree of adjustment to make to what they expect, including me if I'm deemed worthy. So if a person thinks something or expects something that is different from what Scripture says, yes, that doesn't, because he won't get back here now. That doesn't mean.
I have to take her out.
I know.
So you need to just take a breather, breathe, and okay, just breathe. You're a little okay.
Okay.
Okay, just gotta even sit.
I know. That doesn't mean they are automatically expelled from any hope in the world to come with Yahusha's return. We are told to watch, to be ready, and it's important to take notice of end-time events. Watching also involves a little analyzing. Who, what, where, why, when, and how are all aspects of watching and asking, and we should keep from jumping to conclusions, but remain open to all possibilities concerning what we observe and the impossibilities. Who were the Natsarim, and how did they turn into Christians? The original faith of the emissaries was clean, pure, and simple, because it was based on truth. The men we read about in the Brit Hadashah, Natsarim writings, were prepared and sent by the Spirit of Yahusha to do their individual work in seeking out the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal. Kepha or Peter was sent to be circumcised, while Paul was sent to the Kepha Peter was sent to the circumcised, while Paul was sent to the uncircumcised. And that's circumcision of the heart. As Paul states at Galatians 2:8. So if Peter was really the first pope, papa, or father, then it is very odd that the record states he was sent to the circumcised or Yahudim. His grave was found near Jerusalem, as was reported by the widely read magazine, Biblical Archaeological Review, or BAR, B-A-R. And yet the Catholics have claimed that his body rests under the altar in St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome, because they are fabulous relic collectors. Bone collectors, more like it. It's horrible. There's nothing Kodesh about holding on to dead things. You're not supposed to even touch dead things. Many scholars believe today that the body in Rome is in fact that of Simon Magus, the magician who attempted to pay money for the Ruach HaKodesh. Acts 8:9 through 24. Whose name gives us the word simony? Simon Magus gives us the word simony. Doubly odd is it is that Peter would have ever been in Rome at all, when all the records of that period indicate severe anti-Semitism, especially so in the city of Rome. Kepha also had noticeable problems associating with Gentiles, seeing how Paul pointed out his obvious hypocrisy at Galatians 2:11 through 21. Kepha's vision, as recorded at Acts 10 and explained at Acts 11, provides further sensitivity training he needed. Paul acknowledges that the emissaries of those days were leaning primarily on three of them. So when Jacob, Kepha, and Yehukanan, who seemed to be supports, came to know the favor that had been given to me, they gave me and Barnabas the right hand of fellowship, in order that we go to the Gentiles and they to the circumcised, only that we might remember the poor, which I myself was eager to do. Galatians 2:9 and 10. Jacob, now called James, and Yehuda, now known as Jude, were brothers of our Rabbi Yahusha. Yahusha being the King Mashiach of the universe. Jacob was in charge of the final decision at the first council of the elders in Jerusalem, Acts 15. The stone box in which Jacob's bones were interred has been reportedly found with an inscription in Aramaic lettering, reading, Jacob, son of Yusuf, brother of Yahusha. Or it says Yeshua. You can just...
Just like this. She has a cover under it. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Rascal,
Thank
no.
you.
I know. No, Rascal. Okay. I'm sorry. Wait. Nope. Oh, God.
See, you can't get back there. I told you. Okay. Sorry, guys.
I know. I apologize. I didn't know.
Roscoe, go.
Come here, buddy.
That's why I moved it.
Rascal. Come on, buddy. She's trying to do a video. You can't keep doing this. Is it paused?
No.
Oh.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to pause real quick. The dog was
sorry.
being a wreck.
This dog. I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, I don't know either. I wish somebody would just come and get him.
He cost him.
I know.
He's not just a cheap dog.
But how it was written on the inscription, I moved it forward. Yeshua, it's Y with a little comma on the top, S-H-U-A. But that spelling was only found a few times in Scripture. Oh, this is all messed up.
I know. I was just trying to figure out from him. Look, I try to help.
Yeah, I know.
I work and I take care of dogs. I pay bills. I try. I don't understand why This is so rough.
I don't know either. Yeshua is the diminutive form of the name Yahusha. I try to help and I lose my breath. Yaakov was murdered, and his death is mentioned in the writings of Josephus. Yusuf ben Mattiyahu, the preeminent historian of the 1st century and witness of Jerusalem's destruction in 70 CE. We can track the deaths of many of the emissaries as letters preserved over the centuries mention their demise. Slowly, the original faith underwent omissions, and many background traditions were adopted from pagan populations. Through these borrowed traditions, the original faith was replaced, and it underwent the apostasy, the falling away, that we have been told would occur. Replaced by the fire-worshipping Nicolaitans, Romanized, and merged into a completely different set of patterns we see today. The new improved format became the religion of the state, and its dogmas or teachings carried the weight of capital punishment. Humanism guided the leadership, but all was done in the guise of sheep's clothing, while underneath the garments were ravaging wolves. The men in black, KOMAR, dark-robed pagan priests, kept the sacred fires going. They wore black because of the ashes and soot their work involved. Fire worship was central to all pagan worship. For the hearth in the home, from the hearth in the home to the local temple. For example, the Philistines lit their hearths from their local temple's fire. Those who went on colonizing journeys or went into battle would take along the presence of their deity by fire bearers. The Olympic Games and the torch carried to light the altar of Zeus at the events directly stems from this ancient paganism. The words of our Creator, as spoken through the prophets, speak of these men in black. At 2 Kings 23:5, a description of these dark-robed priests comes through the original Hebrew in the word KOMAR. You will have to look at various translations since this description is hidden from you in most versions. All of this may seem to be aimed at bashing the Catholic Church, its leaders, or its members. This is not the case at all. The RCC openly admits that its policy was and is to adopt the pagan background of a given population, sanctifying it all by changing the meaning behind the traditions. This may sound like humanistic ideals are at work, and they are. But this approach and 1,000 years of it, we are far and away from the original faith and patterns of the authentic Natsarim Yashuralites of the 1st century CE. How does all this relate to the end of days? We must first realize how the falling away occurred to understand what must end. Humanistic reasoning, Greco-Roman culture, and the pagan background of the fallen nations crept into the clean, pure, and simple truth and polluted it. Understanding this, we can come to our senses and change how we live. Huh?
I don't know. Something's weird. I'm trying to fix it.
If we don't change and accept Yahusha's atonement and circumcision of our heart with his Torah, we will have rejected the greatest gift we could ever receive. We will have literally crawled over Yahusha to throw ourselves into the lake of fire. Please don't make this mistake. Speaking of receiving gifts, should we accept them from people after we realize the pagan origins of gift giving? The question we all face. A sister wrote, I am very happy that I no longer have a desire to celebrate the man-made holidays. However, people still want to purchase gifts for me and my son in celebration of these holidays. I purchase gifts for me and my son in celebration of these holidays. I have tried to be very gentle in explaining to them that I no longer participate in these celebrations, but it doesn't seem to register with them. I want to know if it would be wrong or improper to decline the gifts that they present to me. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I need to know what or how I should proceed. At my job, everyone celebrates Christmas, Easter, etc., except me, and we receive gifts from the company and from outside vendors for the holidays. So do I refuse them kindly or accept them and discard them once I am away from work? Please help me to do what is right in the eyes of Father Yahuwah. And this is what Lou wrote. Dear sister, because we've also had to make this determination and continue to deal with those of the world, we understand completely. Looking into Torah, we see no prohibition in the receiving of any plunder from a person involved in practicing a human tradition that has set their hearts toward giving to others selflessly. The exception would be if the object offered as a gift was an object used for false worship, such as a horoscope symbol. The Yashuralites received plunder from the Egyptians as they were departing from their captivity. As one example. That hurt my ribs. Get out.
How do you do this? Come here. Yeah, see, I didn't go. No, I just went in the kitchen quick. Come on.
At 1 Corinthians 8, we are advised how to regard food associated with a pagan observance. And we now understand that celebrating Sunday, birthdays, Easter, Christmas, and Halloween are all adapted from idolatrous origins. Can we be defiled if we accept food or gifts from someone else that is unwittingly following human traditions? Receiving a gift offered out of love from a friend or relative is not a transgression of Torah. They are the ones still in bondage to a tradition and need our help to understand the stronghold they are bound up in. In response to their kindness, the best opportunity to share the truth becomes available rather than giving them a feeling of being spurned or even worse, judged. Our witness can be a positive experience for everyone who knows and loves us. When we can meet them at their level and gently guide them into an understanding of what the season really means. We can best help those trapped in Egypt or Mitzrayim when we can explain to them how we have learned of the things that really please Yahuwah, observing his appointed times instead of the traditions of men. They are trapped in practicing what we were all raised to do, but we have been delivered by receiving the truth. They can have the same deliverance if we can gain their trust in what we are telling them. The alternative is to shun them and their offering to show their love, and by doing so, we will be shunned. Our effectiveness is therefore reduced, and the probability of our success in sharing the truth is almost zero. Goose egg. Decades will pass, and no change will be seen. Yahusha spent his time among those who needed deliverance, and they didn't feel shunned by him. He offered his sincere friendship. He ate and drank with them and was available to help and guide them. He reached out to them, and they could feel the genuine love that burned in him for them. We must strive to do the same and allow his love for them to be felt through us. After all, the lesson to be learned is love. Many have the impression it is our duty to judge everything and everyone. Yep. But it is our failure to love the lost that is our greatest stumbling block to overcome. Well, honey. 2 witnesses from Revelation 11:3-19. And I shall give unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1260 days, clad in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that are standing before the ALAHIM of the earth. And if anyone wishes to harm them, fire comes out from their mouth and consumes their enemies. And if anyone wishes to harm them, he has to be killed in that way. These possess authority to shut the heaven, or the Shamayim, so that no rain falls in the days of their prophecy. And they possess authority over waters to turn them to blood and to smite the earth with plagues as often as they wish. And when they have ended their witness, the beast coming up out of the pit of the deep shall fight against them and overcome them and kill them. People who study history are well aware of the consistently bloody past of both Christianity and Islam. In both of these groups, the common reply to this fact is something like, well, those people who acted violently against others were not acting within the true faith and were not really Christian or Islamic. When we are not attempting to justify behavior, we just go into denial. We have been told to in advance that the two witnesses will be met with violence at the end of their mission, and when they die, it will be celebrated by most of the known world. Who will they be? An even more important question to ask is, who will listen to them? Obviously, they will promote a very unpopular message. Hashatan, the adversary, Satan, has spent most of the last 2 millennia promoting religious dogmas, which will clash directly with what the two witnesses will promote. The basic difference will be predicated on whether or not all people should repent and obey the 10 Commandments, the Torah, given at Sinai to all Yasharal. Psalm 1 speaks of this Torah, and then the response of the nations to it is found in Psalm 2. Back to who these witnesses will be, some have speculated they are the Old and New Testaments of Scripture. Scripture is certainly a witness, but it will not be attacked, die, and then raised to life in 3.5 days. Others expect Moshe, or Moses, and Aliyah, Hanok, and Aliyah, or other pairs of men from the past. I used to lean somewhat towards the idea that Yahuwah would raise men we are familiar with from Scripture. This is making the assumption that they... Oh, great. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry, guys. I had to pause for a second. This is making the assumption that they would be raised again in their mortal flesh, then be killed, and raised again to immortality. Yahuwah can do this. Yeah. Making an exception of this text. You can... Yeah. Love you.
I don't like doing it too much. Everyone's going to hate me because I have to work.
Well, it's not dark yet. I love you.
As soon as they get dark, we need the money.
I know we do.
Sorry, love you.
Love you. Yeah, we're going through some hard financial times right now, but I think everybody is. Yeah.
Okay, it does. Okay.
Alright, love you.
The vacuum's kind of like
okay. It should. Love you. And as it awaits men to die once, and after this the judgment, so also the Messiah, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, shall appear a second time, apart from sin, to those waiting for him unto deliverance. I can't wait. Hebrews 9:27 and 28. Lazarus, or Elazar, comes to mind, along with, I hope I don't butcher this, Eutychus, it's Eutychus, and several other people who were brought back from death miraculously. They, no doubt, died twice. So we assume. We can adjust for these and treat them as exceptions, since they were outside the prescribed pattern for normal life. There were direct miracles involved. It is just as easy for Yahuwah to raise someone who has been dead for thousands of years as it is for him to raise someone just minutes, hours, or days after their death. Prophecy can be fulfilled on several levels, and I've seen that recently. AVS on YouTube made a video about, and he was showing actual footage of, in the deserts right now, there's rivers of water just showing up in dry places, barren places, just like it said in Isaiah and a few other scriptures. I think somewhere in Psalms it mentions something about bringing water to a barren land. I don't know. I'll have to look into it again and find the scriptures for you guys. but water is like spurting out of the rocks and out of the sand, and rivers are just starting to flow over crevices. It's crazy. It's miraculous. It's like it's prophecy being fulfilled in front of our eyes. Today we have come to understand that the two witnesses may also be groups, not merely two men. Based on several clear passages taken in context from Scripture, especially Ezekiel 37, it can be viewed that the two witnesses are the two houses of Yasharal. Yehuda and Yasharal are also called Ephraim. The 12 tribes of all Yasharal are the only people that have any covenant, new or old, with Yahuwah. Gentiles must engraft into Yasharal to partake of the promises, Romans 11, or the wrath of Yahuwah abides on their heads, and they are without hope. So the Yahudim, called Jews today, can be thought of as one of the two witnesses as a group. These would most probably be Messianic and believe in Yahusha HaMashiach, coming from the tribe of Yehuda or Judah physically. In this model, the other witness is logically the lost tribes, previously scattered among the nations long ago. They are also referred to as Joseph or Yusef or Ephraim. The multicolored coat which Yusef's father, Yasharal, Yaakov, or Jacob, gave to him set Yusef above his other brothers, the fathers of the tribes. What if this multicolored coat is echoed in the tradition of the Scottish plaids, which we see in the clans of the Scandinavian lands, the natives of North and South America, or the African tribal garments? Peoples who drifted across the centuries and continents carrying a tradition with them that they don't know the origin of. The clans are ranked by their colors. The more colors, the higher the clans rank. Not knowing or remembering, they are some of the remnants of the lost tribes or clans of Yasharal. They may have blended in among the nations and forgotten their ancient roots and covenants. But Yahuwah knows who they are, and he keeps his covenant with Yasharal and takes it very seriously. Yasharal is Yahuwah's wife or bride. The parable of the prodigal son reflects these and many others across the earth who wandered off and became lost, and for a long time, generations, forgot who they were. They eventually become extremely hungry spiritually and long for the food, Torah, commandments, teachings, and of their father's house. Their hunger for the truth or Torah drives them to their senses, and they remember who they are. So the question that is more important to ask, who will listen to the message of the two witnesses, will reveal to each hearer that they are of the lost sheep, the sheep Yahusha has been seeking down through the centuries through his Natsarim, those who are seeking out these sheep and feeding them the Torah. By contrast, the wolves devouring the sheep teach against Torah, keeping the sheep hungry. The two witnesses will break the hypnotic spell these wolves hold on the sheep, and these wolves will be the ones who will attack and eventually kill the witnesses. The reason will be obvious. The two witnesses will expose the lawlessness, and mystery of iniquity will be clearly seen, and the business and wealth of the wolves will falter severely, because people will not buy their lies anymore. The wine which intoxicates the whole world is figurative speech for the lies and doctrines of demons, spewing forth from the Jezebel of Babylon. See Revelation 18. They appear to come from highly respected religious teachers who have great influence. Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these the wrath of ALAHIM comes upon the sons of disobedience. Therefore do not become partakers with them, For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Master. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is well-pleasing to the Master. And have no fellowship with the fruitless works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Ephesians 5:6-11. All this points to repentance, for the forsaking of breaking the Torah. The 10 commandments, or the 10 words, the commandments, represents the covenant to be written on our hearts by the Spirit of Yahusha, so we no longer rage against them. These are our marriage vows. The 2 tablets of stone are witnesses, since the ark was also called the Ark of the Witness. Exodus 26:33. The 2 witnesses will reveal this as the new covenant, better translated renewed covenant, as can be inferred by reading Jeremiah 31 and Hebrews chapter 8 and 10. The roots of the faith are blossoming all across the earth, and the fig tree, Yasharal, is bearing fruit. This is an important sign that Yahusha is near. The 2 witnesses will explain clearly that light and darkness cannot be mixed. They're not the same, so they can't mix. Let me see here. And they will end the secret of ALAHIM, discussed later. Recently, Lou listened to 2 lawyers on the radio arguing over legal philosophy. One was of the left, and the other from the right. The one from the right stated that most lawyers study with the goal of making the gray areas of laws bend towards being legal, thus making portions of the darkness light. He said most of their training and testing deals with the fringes and shadows of law, where circumstances tint and confuse the issue, making right and wrong very murky. As an accountant once said, we have to bend the law as far as it will go, but be careful not to break it. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Yashayahu 5:20. The other lawyer from the left was very angry and insulted over what the other said, obviously because he was being exposed by the light. Light and darkness are good, Torah compliant, and evil, without law or Torahless. In the field of man's law, legal and illegal are also good and evil, and the left wants to bend the darkness so that it is accepted as light. The good and the evil are also referred to as wheat and tares, or wheat and weeds. Who the 2 witnesses are may seem important to know, but really this is probably the least important information to know in advance. We should be watching for these witnesses, however. We will listen to them, and who will listen to them is the most important to consider now, and what message the witnesses will be likely to carry to those who will listen to them around the world. The most likely group of people around the world who will listen to the witnesses will be the elect. The elect listen to the Torah. I'll read some more here. Who are the elect? Another term we use for elect is chosen. The Hebrew term is bachar, B-A-C-H-A-R, and means selected or desired. It is also the root of the Hebrew words for first fruits and firstborn. Over the centuries, it has been believed that if one attends the right church or circus, or is of the correct denomination, they are the elect. Closer to the truth, it has been understood that the Jews are the chosen people. There will be a remnant of those of the tribe of Yehuda, which is one of the 12 tribes. There will be a remnant from all Yasharal, 12 tribes, who will be saved, and we learn that these will be sealed with a name in their foreheads. Revelation 7:3-8 and 14:1. The name will also be the reason for their persecution. And you shall be hated by all because of my name. But he who shall have endured to the end, he shall be saved. Mark 13:13. During the final days of the earth ruled by Gentiles, a messenger will deliver or announce something we should be listening and watching for. And then I saw another messenger flying in mid-heaven, holding the everlasting good news, the Besorah, to announce to those dwelling on the earth, even to every nation or Goyim, and tribe and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear ALAHIM and give esteem to him, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made the heaven and the earth and sea and fountains of water. Revelation 14:6 and 7. Repeatedly, we are told that the sign of the Sabbath acknowledges outwardly who we serve. So resting as he rested commemorates Creation Week. The 144,000 sealed with the name on their forehead, their mind, are referred to in the first verse of Revelation 14. I did a series called the End Time Series, where I read different sections of Revelation. It's on my channel. Hold on. Where was it? Sorry. The 144,000 sealed with the name in their foreheads or minds. Okay, sorry, I read that part. Each tribe is mentioned by name. A messenger first seals the 144,000 living saints across the earth. Revelation 7:2 and 3. With the name of the Creator, and these will play a role in ending the secret of ALAHIM. Revelation 10:7. 12,000 are called from each tribe, and most of the tribes are scattered among the Gentiles, having lost the knowledge of who they are. Then it happens. The secret of ALAHIM. Oh, it left off with then it happens, so I'm going to continue on and read some more. The secret of ALAHIM. Everything has already been recorded for us to understand, but the understanding comes only at the proper time ordained by Yahuwah. Slowly reading Ephesians, all 6 chapters, you will see what the secret is that will be ended in the last days, just before the sounding of the 7th messenger. We are now in that time. The core of the idea is at Ephesians 3:6, but you must take in the whole context of what this verse is saying. This ties in with Ezekiel chapters 36 and 37 and involves taking the elect from all 12 tribes of Yasharal, from among the nations of Gentiles, where they were scattered. Then he says he will do something to us. And I will put my spirit within you, and I shall cause you to walk in my laws and guard my right rulings, and shall do them. Ezekiel 36:27. This action is done by the Spirit of Yahusha and is the renewed covenant. The writing of the Torah on our hearts was prophesied at Yirmiyahu 31:31 through 33 and quoted at Hebrews chapters 8 and 10 as being the new covenant. In this chapter of Yirmiyahu at verse 6, he says, For there shall be a day when the watchmen cry on Mount Ephraim, Arise and let us go to Zion, to Yahuwah our ALAHIM. The word watchman is Natsarim, the original term for the followers of Yahusha HaMashiach of Nazareth. The reference to Mount Ephraim are those descendants of Yosef and the other clans of Yasharal dispersed among the Gentiles. Yirmiyahu 30:24 says, In the latter days we will understand. Natsarim, Acts 24:5, Yirmiyahu 31:6. For look, I am commanding, and I shall sift the house of Yasharal among all the Gentiles as one sifts with a sieve. Yet not all grain falls to the ground. Amos 9:9. Sorry, my bangs are just not working with me today. This house of Yasharal includes those of the lost tribes carried away by the Assyrians. and sifted into all the Gentile nations. These are being sealed today with the Father's name, so that they can be identified and so they will know who they are. They are the elect, chosen, selected, and desired of Yahuwah, the bride, even as he chose us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be set apart and blameless before him in love. Ephesians 1:4. They are called the tribes of the children of Yasharal at Revelation 7:4. Paul revealed this fact to us through his letter to the Ephesians, that by revelation was made known to me the secret, as I wrote before briefly. In reading this, then you are able to understand my insight into the secret of Messiah, which was not made known to the sons of men in other generations, as it has now been revealed by the Spirit to his set-apart emissaries and prophets, the Gentiles, those being gathered according to the prophecy of Ezekiel 37:15 through 28, to be co-heirs, united in the same body, Yasharal, and partakers together in the promise in Messiah, through the good news, Besorah or message, of which I became a servant according to the gift of the favor of ALAHIM given to me, according to the working of his power. Ephesians 3:3-7. Please pause and read Ezekiel 37, especially 37:15 through 28. And then it says, done? I've gotten pretty far in this video. So I don't want to keep you guys too long. I would like to read Ezekiel 37. Hold on one second. Okay, so to add some context to this, I'm going to read Ezekiel 37:15 through 28. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, and you, son of man, take a stick for yourself and write on it for Yehuda and for the children of Yasharal, his companions. Then take another stick and write on it for you, Yusuf, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Yasharal, his companions. Then bring them together for yourself into one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people speak to you, saying, won't you show us what you mean by these? Say to them, thus said the Master Yahuwah, see, I am taking the stick of Yusuf, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Yasharal, his companions, and I shall give them to him with the stick of Yehuda, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks on which you write shall be in your hand before their eyes, and speak to them, thus said the Master Yahuwah. See, I am taking the children of Yasharal from among the nations wherever they have gone, and shall gather them from all around, and I shall bring them into their land. And I shall make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Yasharal, and one sovereign shall be sovereign over them all. And let them no longer be two nations, and let them no longer be divided into two reigns. And they shall no longer defile themselves with their idols, nor with their disgusting things, nor with any of their transgressions. And I shall save them from all their dwelling places in which they have sinned, and I shall cleanse them, and they shall be my people, and I be their ALAHIM. While Dawid, my servant, is sovereign over them, and they shall all have one shepherd, and walk in my right ruling, and guard my laws, and shall do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Yaakov my servant, where my fathers dwelt, and they shall dwell in it, they and their children and their children's children forever, and my servant Dawid be their prince forever. And I shall make a covenant of peace with them, an everlasting covenant it is with them. And I shall place them and increase them, and shall place my set-apart place in their midst forever, and my dwelling place shall be over them. And I shall be their ALAHIM, and they shall be my people. And the nations shall know that I, Yahuwah, am setting Yasharal apart, when my set-apart place is in their midst forever. I see why that was important for this now. Now, when we read the word Yasharal in our scriptures, we must consider the context to understand whether it means all 12 tribes, including Yehuda, Jews, Reuben, Zebulun, Ephraim, and all the others, lost and sifted among the Gentiles, or simply the northern tribes as distinct from Yehuda. In the book of Revelation, the reference to those sealed with the Father's name includes all the tribes of Yasharal by name, and how many are sealed from each tribe. Now get ready for the chills and the hair on your body to stand up. But in the days of the sounding of the seventh messenger, when he is about to sound, the secret of ALAHIM shall also be ended, as he declared to his servant the prophets. And the voice which I heard out of the heaven spoke to me again and said, Go take the little book which is opened in the hand of the messenger standing on the sea and on the earth. Revelations 10, 7, and 8. Okay, so I take Shabbat to rest with my husband. The weeks kind of fly by for us. The days are flying by like they're flowing like water. Like we don't even realize how they're going by so fast. But my baby Bella Bean, we don't understand. We don't know if this is normal or not. Do any of you guys know if it's normal for a small dog to go into heat a month after she already was in heat? Because now our Rottweiler is going nuts again, and he's driving us crazy. He won't stop jumping on the bed when he knows he's not allowed up there, and he keeps attacking her and jumping on me, and he's trying to attack my husband. We don't know what to do. We're at our wit's end almost, and we don't know. We're thinking about getting rid of him. We don't know what to do. If anyone's interested in buying a Rottweiler, he's going to be one next month, but my husband just wants to get back the money he put into him. But he's house trained. He's just too big for where we're at right now. If we could just go to the other place, we would be so much better. But at this point in time, I'd still need your guys' prayers because they still haven't figured it out. They were supposed to get rid of it when court ended, and they still haven't gotten rid of it. So I am trying to stay hopeful, trying to stay positive, trying to just have comfort in knowing that I'm protected divinely under Yahusha. But it's killing me that I can't help him with the dogs. I'd be able to help him with the dogs if they would just fix this and get rid of it like it was supposed to be gotten rid of at the end. We wouldn't have stopped fighting for the kids if we would have known that they were going to keep this order in place. This is ridiculous. But they were never going to give our kids back anyways. They were just going to keep stringing us along and keep making us think we were getting our kids home when we were never going to get them home anyways. So, and like the court is like slapping us in the face, saying we're still not allowed to be together because that we have a bad track record. When we were still in our dark days, when we were still using, we had a few fights, yes. Everyone would in their dark days, in their dark times. But we didn't fight anymore after that. When we first got sober, we had one fight, and that's what made them separate us completely. And they are not supposed to keep us separate since we don't see the kids anymore. This is crazy. That was a sacrifice I had to make, and that was a choice I had to make. It was a very hard choice, but I made the decision because I knew they weren't ever going to give us our kids. But that's why we have our beautiful puppies now. But Roscoe is driving us crazy, and he's hurting my husband's back. He's hurting my back. He's hard to handle with a little dog. If somebody is alone and wants a dog, like he would be probably easier to handle by himself. But I wanted a little dog so bad I cried for her, and my husband brought me to Ohio to pick her up. But it made Roscoe, our male Rottweiler, crazy because like we thought that he would think of her as a sister because they look alike. They have the same markings. But he just thinks of her as a toy, and he keeps trying to jump on her. He wants to hump her, and he doesn't understand he's way too big. So we're just trying to figure out what to do. I love you all. Everyone have a blessed Shabbat. Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. I love you all. Shalom. Shabbat shalom. Bye.